Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Polyhedron Collider cast episode 38, which, according to my show notes, which someone else has written, is called The Tuesday of the Year.
February is the Tuesday of the year. You've had Monday, which is January, and that's everyone hates it because you're all skint and fed up after Christmas. And now you're on Tuesday, and Tuesday is just shit as well because you're still broke, you can't really be arsed, you're too far from the weekend, which is obviously summer, to care, and now you're just kind of drudging through it. So here we are on Tuesday. In fact, mid-Tuesday, that's like the worst.
Do you know, I think that's the most sense you've ever made, Andy.
Hey, it does happen sometimes.
Well, that bundle of optimism and sunshine was Mr. Andrew Lewis.
Hello.
Oh, and I'm Mr. John Cage, and I'm also here.
And me trying to barely hold this ramshackle podcast together is Mr. Tudor, Steve.
There we go.
Barely being the operative word.
Yes. Oh, God. Right, I wasn't going to mention this, but to the audience, we started playing D&D via Roll20.
Yeah.
So we've only had one session yet, and it's gone really well. I mean, it's got some problems, mainly Roll20. Not us not knowing how to use Roll20 is the problem.
And then there's the players.
I was going to say, surely the biggest problem is the players.
Well, that's the problem with every single D&D.
Probably me and John, actually, because we're probably the most chaotic of the bunch.
No, you and Sid.
Really?
Yes. Sid was easily the more chaotic. But I was prepping for some future adventures and reading up loads of stuff on Forgotten Realms, Faerun, Sword Coast and all that. And there's a town in the Forgotten Realms called Ramshackle.
Is there?
Brilliant. That's awesome.
We will have to visit it. Where is it? Is it in Faerun or is it somewhere else?
No, it's in Faerun. I'm not looking at somewhere else. I'm just sticking to Faerun. I'm not looking at anywhere else. Jesus.
Awesome.
I got to say, I'm pretty excited about what you've got planned for this, because at the moment we're a group of 7 adventurers, which is a lot for one DM, right?
Yes.
It is, yeah.
Especially over Roll20 when it's potential that everyone can start talking at once.
Yeah.
And so everyone often did talk at once in the last session.
Even when you're not trying to.
Don't know what you mean.
Everyone starts speaking at the same time, and then you're all waiting for the same delay. So everyone pauses, then everyone talks, then everyone pauses. A bit like this podcast, actually.
It was the same problem we used to have on this.
No, it's the same problem we do have. I just
We still have. Yes.
Pesky internet delay. I blame Andy's internet, that wet piece of string.
Hey, I dried it out.
You say that, but I don't find myself talking over Steve.
Meh. I just don't think you respect me. That's what it is.
No, I don't. That's true.
Anyway, at least you're honest.
Yeah, so we've got a really big group, and I think I'm right in saying, Steve, that you've been looking at splitting out the group into a couple of separate sessions.
That's the plan, yeah, because 7's a lot, for me anyway, with the group we've got, because they all are quite chaotic. So I think 4 is about right. I mean, if you look at most sessions that most people do, like online sessions, it's about 5 players. So 7's, in my opinion, just a smidge too much. I think if we're all around a table, it might not be so bad, but over Roll20, it's a bit much. So I've set myself up for a fall here, basically, but...
That's not like you, Steve.
Over ambitious, as per usual.
To be fair, D&D 5th edition, I think, is set up for a party of 4, usually.
Yeah.
That's how it's balanced, but obviously you can scale it.
So what my thinking is we split the party into 2 groups, but it will remain the same campaign.
I think this is such a cool idea.
So that you can swap groups and swap play sessions if you ever want. And basically, I'm going to try and DM 2 separate groups running an interwoven campaign. So you'll go off and scatter to the 7 corners of the world, and then at certain points, you'll join back up, like for big boss fights or like major climactic events or whatever. And if this works, it's going to be awesome. If it doesn't, I don't know what happens.
There's going to be so many opportunities for this to do cool stuff. Like, we'll hear rumours about what the other group's up to, or like, it won't necessarily be obvious that it's them. I mean, it will be because they're doing something stupid. But...
We hear rumours far and wide of a purple-tighted bard.
A band of adventurers so stupid they just danced right into a dragon's lair and nearly got eaten. Or
we have to work together. John did what?
There's just so many opportunities for carrier pigeons between the two groups who are both trying to work towards a common goal. And then to have everyone finally meet up, or like you say, have groups of us meet in between. It's a really cool way of managing who can and can't make it.
It's a great idea.
Yeah. It's just hope it works.
Yeah, it has the potential.
We'll keep you informed, listeners.
Good grief.
But anyway, back to the board games. I know most people are interested for the board game chat, so I think it's time we talk some cardboard tabletop adventures.
Yeah, and we have played some games for once. In fact, we went to a rather lovely convention, did we not?
Indeed. In fact, John, I think you've played more games than me this month.
Bum, bum, bum.
I know. The world is ending. I mean, it's basically, the skies are about to fall and rivers will run red with blood on this point.
You've definitely played more games than me this month.
Yes. Good Lord.
I'm actually been slacking this month, I think.
There's no way to lead a team. You're supposed to be our influence and our mentor, Steve.
No, he's got to the point now where he's that high up in the management structure of PHC that he no longer needs to play the games. He's got people to play the games for him.
Yes, one has a man for this.
In fact, he's got people to play the games, and he's got another person to buy the games.
That's true.
It's all part of my master plan.
Yeah.
You see, you've been roped into it as well.
Which, buying games?
It's
Yes.
funny watching the chat between you two these last couple of weeks on Kickstarter about Kickstarters and buying games. Bloody hell.
Speaking of which, I just had 2 turn up today.
2?
2!
Hmm.
I've finally got hope after 18 months of waiting.
Really?
Yes, that turned up today. It's very shiny, like literally shiny. The entire box is covered in hologram. It looks lovely, but it's a pain in the arse to read the text on the box.
Yeah, I noticed that in the picture.
It's really hard to read, but also got hex spans as well.
Okay.
Yes,
I'd
unannounced.
forgotten you'd backed that.
Yeah, so would I.
So, since we are all serial Kickstarter addicts, it's probably worth mentioning when we back something, when we record an episode, what are we backing at the moment? Because it's no doubt one of us is going to be backing something. i.e. Andy.
Oi! I'm only backing one thing at the moment.
In fact,
Which
we're
is?
equally backing the same number. I've got one on the go as well.
Ooh,
And I
we've got
lied,
one
2.
each.
2.
Oh, no, 3. No, it's 10.
It was 3. No, it is 3. Well, 2 have just finished. So U-Boot and Nemesis. I dropped that to £1, like we said last time. But I'm still waiting on Prehistory from A Games. That's still ongoing at the moment.
So, currently backing, that's currently running at the moment, is Prehistory and... Is that it?
That is it.
Oh, so you are only one at the moment.
Yeah.
So which one are you backing, Mr. Cage?
Well, backed, I suppose. I backed Nemesis.
You back Nemesis. Well, we'll talk about Nemesis in a minute, actually.
Is.
So I am currently backing Endeavour, Age of Sail Edition.
Oh, yes. Yes, the potentially controversial one we discussed, 2, 3 podcasts ago?
Yeah, 3, I think. Yeah.
Ish. Bloody hell, time flies.
Ish.
It does look interesting, actually, and surprisingly cheap,
Yes, I mean, even the Super Duper Turbo Deluxe Edition is only like £50.
which is pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, it is a Euro game, so it's not like resplendent with miniatures, but they have gone a bit OTT and like changed all the cannon tokens into little plastic cannons and things like that.
Oh, very nice.
Well,
Yes.
if people are throwing money at you, you've got to do something with it.
Exactly. Yeah, speaking of which, there's another 2 I'm looking forward to very, very soon.
You were always looking forward to a few.
There's like 2 in the next 3 days. Oh, dear. Well, there's donning the purple helmet, which I'm tempted by, and which we've talked about. Yes, there's childish
Sorry,
snickering.
it's still funny.
And Robin Hood, which is obviously by Final Frontier Games, which I've just received Rise to Nobility for as well. I got that on Saturday, I think it was.
Blimey, so 3 games in 2 working days.
Pretty much, yes.
That's despicable, Andy.
It's amazing. That's an entire Kallax cube in 2 days. How good's that?
Although, having said that, number 9, Splendor and Lanterns may or may not have turned up in the last couple of days.
You see, it's not just me. I've got John hooked as well. He's on the crack now.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not on the Kickstarter crack there. That's just
No, that's
the
premium
impulse
crack.
buy crack, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh, and Ethnos has come back into stock, so I'll be ordering that as well.
See? How good does that feel?
Right, let's talk about some actual games we played then recently. So we were at the City of Kings.
We were.
No. City of Games.
Yes.
That was
City of Kings
wrong.
is turning up next month.
Oh,
Yes.
bloody hell. The City of Games convention, which was Frank, who is designer of City of Kings. It's his first convention, which is just in Bristol, and it was interesting because it was a Kickstarter convention. The whole Kickstarter was funded via Kickstarter. That's the place you could buy tickets. And I get the impression, looking at some of the groups a few days before, that this was really popular. There was a lot of people who wanted to get tickets but couldn't.
Yeah. I think running it as a Kickstarter is a really good use. Like when we went back to our episode on what should you do with the Kickstarter, like setting up a music festival or a board gaming convention, that's perfect. Exactly
That's what it was
you
set
should be
up
doing
for,
with
wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And I think it worked really well.
No, it did. It was a really, really good thing. And the best bit is, I mean, one thing we all, I think, pointed out that, in fact, I think it was Amanda, actually, that pointed it out, Steve, was that there was at no time, and no one was really desperate, was like struggling to sit down. All the seats were filled.
Yeah.
Everyone was sat down playing, and there were very few spaces left. So I think it was judged perfectly.
Yeah. It was one of those conventions that's definitely more geared towards playing games rather than looking at stuff to buy.
Yes.
Like there was an area you could buy some games, but it was one stall, basically.
Yes. It felt weird, actually, not being there on official business.
Yeah. Just going to a board gaming convention for fun. What's that about?
Really? And yet we still ended up doing stuff.
Yeah.
Which we'll talk about soon.
Mm.
Now, the first game I played, because I turned up there a little bit earlier, because I was thinking in my head, the last time we all went away to a games convention at the weekend like this was Arkon last year in Harrogate.
Yep.
So I kept thinking to my head, I need to leave about 4 o'clock, get in the car, go to get there a sensible time. So we did that, and I forgot that we're like an hour from Bristol.
Right.
So we rocked up not long after it had opened, to be fair, gone and got some food, and then me and Amanda just picked up a game, and I thought, right, pick up a game from the library, which I've got to say to the City of Games, there was a damn good game library there to choose from.
That was amazing.
Impressive. In fact, it duplicated quite a lot of the games that we'd brought with us,
Well,
which is always a good sign, I think.
I broke my back for nothing. And I blame Frank.
The first game I picked up was Kingdomino, partly because I've been wanting to try it for a while, partly because apparently you can play it really easily, and mainly because it takes 15 minutes to play a game.
Mm-hmm. And I rocked up halfway through.
You did. I think we rocked up halfway through the second game we were playing.
And it looked pretty.
It was, and it's really simple as well. You're basically just making like a 5x5 grid using these kind of terrain domino pieces. So each cardboard piece has got 2 different types of terrain on it. Then what you're trying to do is match the terrain, but also put, I think it was stars. And so you times the amount of stars by the size of the terrain piece you've got.
So they're like sort of
And that was
big,
your
funky
score.
dominoes.
Yeah, basically.
Hence the King Domino.
Hence the King Domino. And you get this little cardboard castle, which goes in the middle and has absolutely no practical purpose whatsoever.
It did look like a double bed or a 4-poster.
It did, didn't it?
Yeah. I genuinely thought you were playing some kind of bedroom-based game, and not that kind of game, you filthy animals.
Oh.
But no, it looked quite pretty.
It was quite pretty. I enjoyed it. But funnily enough, some of the games we'll talk about later, in fact, some of the games you already mentioned, John, we thought, oh, we'll go buy this afterwards. Neither me or Amanda were like desperate to go out and buy this game now.
Oh.
Okay.
Not that it was bad, it just didn't strike the right note, if
Didn't
that makes sense.
punch. Didn't grab you by the short and curlies.
Exactly. Now, it could be because we only play it 2-player. It might be better with 3 or 4 players because like the competition for the pieces might be more.
When I sat down, I actually genuinely thought you were playing. It was very similar to Between Two Cities from Stonemaier.
Okay.
Similar sort of idea.
Yes, it's very similar, yeah.
Because Between Two Cities is, I wouldn't say more complicated, just slightly different in its mechanics. Same sort of idea.
Yeah,
Like a 5x5 grid, arrangements of different types of building will get you different bonuses. And that's basically it. Although Between Two Cities is kind of semi-cooperative.
So once everyone got in and arrived, we decided to play a game of photosynthesis.
We did.
Well, you lot did. I sat out drinking beer, mocking you all.
You were there in spirit.
I was, literally.
Spirits.
And it was good.
Have we mentioned photosynthesis before?
Yeah.
Yes, I think so.
I'm fairly certain we have mentioned it before. So just in case we didn't explain it before, Photosynthesis is a game of growing stuff, basically.
Not weed.
Not weed, no, trees. So you've each got little acorns, small trees, big trees, and you take it in turns to plant trees, grow them, and chop them down. Important step, because that's how you score points.
Grow your tree and then murder it.
That's it. And the closer you get it to the centre of the board, the more points you get. There's like stacks of tokens, so that the very centre tile is worth more, but each time someone scores on each tile, or each type of tile, the reward goes down.
Now, the interesting thing to remember here as well is to get the energy in which to make actions, you have to use sunlight.
That's right.
And the sun rotates around the board. And trees, depending on the height, block sunlight to other trees. So basically, in a maneuver that every single person on this podcast absolutely adores, you can screw over your opponent by blocking their sunlight.
Hooray for the dick move!
I really like this game.
It is very good.
So you're kind of constantly weighing up whether you want to try and like grow a tree and get some more light this turn, or whether it's worth planting it over there, because then in 2 moves' time, you're going to dick Steve over and he's not going to get any light at all.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I think that's why I didn't win the last game that we played, because I spent far too much time just deliberately dicking over Steve in particular.
You started off well enough, but then the arse fell out of your game and it all went wrong.
Yes, quite. Andy, can we have a different shot, please? It is on your webcam. It is quite a crotch shot. There we go. It's off-putting.
Cross your legs.
Yeah, make like a lady.
At least I wasn't in the mankini.
True.
At least you're wearing trousers.
Yeah,
That makes a change. And pants.
Oh dear.
To our American listeners, pants means underpants.
But Photosynthesis is great fun. I think it's fair to say we all love that game. In fact, we all own it, do we not?
No, I don't own a copy.
Steve's letting us down.
Yet.
Yes,
Ooh,
indeed.
2018, 3 for 3. Wink.
It might be.
Hey.
This is weird as well, because I remember when we were talking about what games we were looking forward to, I think at Essen, we actually said, I think we're all going to love this game. And I was bang on the money with that.
Yep.
Not that you're showing off about that or anything.
No. We can ignore all the things I've got wrong in the last 38 episodes of the podcast.
Yes.
Just concentrate on this one minor detail, please.
It has everything we like. Strategy, dick moves, prettiness.
Meaningful decisions.
And it's well priced.
And well
Yeah, it
made,
is,
I would
actually.
say.
Yes, I agree. It has all the components of a good board game. Hence, we love it. See, it almost sounds like we know what we're talking about here, boys. Let's not get too carried away.
Quickly moving on.
To a subject we know less about.
So the following day, we kicked off with a nice, quick game of Nemesis.
Yeah.
I was pretty nervous about playing this game because, unlike you guys who reduced your pledge down to £1, I have actually backed this game and it's going to be arriving at some point. Know my luck, 2019.
Now, we hadn't mentioned this in the last podcast because we received a copy of Nemesis, I think, just after we finished recording the last podcast. So we had no chance to actually play it. So we've not mentioned this, but there's a review we put out 3 days before the Kickstarter ended. And me and Andy had played it that week. So about a week before the Kickstarter ended we played it.
Something like that. Yes.
And we were a little disappointed by it.
Yeah.
But
Underwhelmed.
we gave it another go and gave John a go. Now, we have mentioned this several times in the podcast before, but the best way of describing Nemesis is it's Alien or Aliens, the board game.
Pretty much.
Wander around a decrepit old space hulk that isn't working and God knows where it's going, and you've got to survive, I think.
It's like being in Grandma's car when she's driving.
I'm trying to think of some more analogies then. The engine might not work, you don't know where you're going, there's a strange creature in there with you.
And a funny smell.
And a funny smell. Okay. And slime everywhere.
Yeah.
And you wake up halfway through the journey, not quite working out what's going on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See what I did there? So it's not as good now you've explained it.
If it was a good joke, Andy, we wouldn't have to. Anyway, so the game is basically, as you say, Steve, generally speaking, it's trying to survive. So you'll start with roughly the same general mission, in that you need to check that enough of the engines are working. You need to check that you're en route to Earth so that you will eventually get back. And you need to do that and probably something else that you can't tell anyone about.
Everyone has a secret objective.
That's it, before the ship jumps into hyperspace and makes you a sort of small greasy mark on the back of the bulkhead.
The secret objectives, though, both make and destroy this game, I think.
Yes.
So, give an example of the secret objective I had in that game we played at City of Games.
Be a wanker. That's what your objective was.
Yeah, my job was to make
Andy.
sure one of the players... No, it wasn't to Andy. It was to the
you're right,
poor
sorry,
chap
yeah.
who was playing with us. My
was.
job, I had to win the game, I had to make sure one person was killed, one person in particular, and I had to do something weird with the communication room.
And to broadcast red tube to the universe.
My job was
Something
to
like
make
that.
sure one person didn't finish the game, which is a bit weird. What was everyone else's?
Mine was to also send a weird signal, and I had to destroy the alien nest or the ship.
Oh, yeah,
Nice.
I remember. That was it.
See, mine was quite mundane and pacifistic. Was just send a message, whatever that may be, and explore all of the ship.
Yeah, fair
That was
enough.
it.
Nice.
Which I managed to do one turn before John blew it up.
So one thing that wasn't clear is how the game ends and who wins. I think that was one of the big
Yes.
flaws for us. Now, bear in
Nobody
mind that
wins.
it was a prototype we were playing, so it's entirely possible that the Kickstarter that goes out will have fixed some of this stuff.
Yeah, there was
He
some
says,
slight issues
hopefully.
with the rule book. Most of the rules were fairly well explained, apart from it wasn't really clear how the game ended.
Hmm.
which is-
Badly, it would seem.
well,
in every
that's it. I mean,
sense.
because that was my third game of it. So I played a game solo just to learn the rules. I played a game with you, Andy, and our friend Adam as a kind of the review game, and then we played it at City of Games. And the first time I played it, I just died. I had like 3 aliens chasing after me, and there was nothing I could do. I just died. And it was just like, okay, it doesn't matter how the game ends now. I know I'm dead. I'm not going to win.
Being chased around like Benny Hill.
Except less comedic.
I don't know. It was quite comedic. I was quite literally running around the station in a big circle.
Making lots of noise and attracting more aliens, no doubt.
Yes, basically, yeah.
Yeah, and then I played it with you, and I was, disappointed, I think is probably the best word to describe it.
Yeah, I mean, it does a lot of things well. I mean, it's really thematic. You do feel as if you're, struggling for survival on this ship. And it's got lots of really cool ideas. Like the way in which you can be infected is brilliant.
Mm.
So
Yes.
in a way, it's a little bit like you've got this deck of cards, which are your actions. So you can decide whether you're going to like go all out and spend loads of actions or hold some back, which can stop you from being panicked. But if you get infected at all, you have to pick up these infection contaminated cards, and they clog up your hand basically. So you need to find a way of getting rid of them, so they reduce your actions. But each one's got like a hidden message on it. So it could just be like, oh, you've got a bit of the sniffles, or it could be
You've
got
caught the
an
alien clap.
Yeah, the aliens are gestating in your stomach at the moment.
And there's a funny itch you can't seem to get rid of.
Yeah. I had a funny itch through most of the game, it turned out. And it wasn't anything outside the game. Yeah. So that was one thing that wasn't clear to me. So my objective was to either kill the nest or blow up the ship. So initially I thought, well, okay, I've already done the one thing. I've already sent my secret message. So all I need to do now is blow up the ship, and I've won. And then about 2/3 of the way through the game, after I'd initiated the self-destruct mechanism, I was looking at this card thinking, this doesn't seem quite right. And I showed it to Steve, and he was like, you know you have to make it out alive, right? I'm like, So So those escape pods that I've just been dooming Steve to never be able to open. Maybe I better help him get them open. Steve, you better open that hatch over there. Yeah, the one near me. That's the one. Great. See you guys. Dunk. And that's basically what I did. I escaped in my life raft after enabling the self-destruct. But I don't, and that's the one thing I don't understand, is that I did escape the ship in a life pod, and I achieved all my objectives, but I did have an alien inside me. So does that mean that I won or nobody won because now Earth's been infected by the alien race?
I think it's strongly hinted that no one won at that point because you got the alien home.
Yeah,
but it could really do with being clarified that could what the win conditions are and all the lose conditions. The other thing you touched on it is really cool is you can influence the ship in loads of ways. Like you can shut and seal bulkhead doors behind you and things like that. So I really revealed my hand at one point when this other chap we were playing with was in the room with an alien, and I wandered up and basically just sealed the door shut behind him and went bye.
Yes, you were called a variety of pretty words at that point, weren't you?
I was, yeah.
It did feel like we were in one of the Aliens films, like all of the bits, the betrayal between the players. It turns out they've got some secret agendas. It was just perfect, and I like the way as well that every time you're moving around. Doesn't matter whether there's aliens there or not. If you're shifting around, you hear scuttling, generally speaking. And if you hear scuttling from the same place, it turns out to be something nasty.
Yes.
Yes. And I think that mechanic really, really well because what you did is you put a little noise token down the corridors where you can hear the scuttling.
You roll a dice to determine which corridor it is you hear it each time. Yeah.
So if the same corridor comes up again, then an alien appears. So you get to points when every single entrance and exit from that room has got a noise token, and it's like, well, if I go in there, I'm bringing out an alien. So I need to either tool up and make sure I've got lots of big guns, or I need to avoid that room at all costs.
But I can't go that way because that bit's on fire. And I can't go that way because there's a queen alien over there.
And I can't go that way because Steve sealed the bulkhead behind me.
Yes, God damn it.
And I've got to go at least some way because John set the auto-destruct sequence. And I've only got 2 turns to get out of this place.
No, that was quite funny. You set off the auto-destruct sequence, toddled off to do what else you had to do. Andy runs in, switches it off, goes back to do what he's supposed to be doing. You turn and switch it back on again.
I had to fix it as well. He broke it in the process.
I did. Turned it off, sabotaged it. We'll have none of that, Mr. Cage. The thing is, you two have just basically described my thought process for 3 turns of that game.
Now, the thing is, we sound like we had a lot of fun with it, and I can't deny that a lot of aspects of the game were really fun. It just needed to play 2 hours shorter, I thought.
Yeah, I must admit, I really enjoyed it, but I would agree that it did feel longer than it needed to be.
It stopped being fun once we'd stopped exploring. And the fact that I was stuck in that room shooting 3 goddamn aliens without anything, and I couldn't do anything about it. That got really quite frustrating.
I'm going to disagree with you there because I thought it was quite funny from the outside that you got stuck just with this tiny little pistol, just like pew, pew, pew. And yet you did kill like 3 of them in a row.
I did. My scientist was a badass. But
wheels.
Yes, wheels kicked ass. The problem is, from my point of view, I was just pinned. There was nothing I could do to change that situation. And this is one of the things I hate. One of the mechanics I hate in games is that if you're completely at the mercy of the dice or whatever mechanic it is, and I can't do anything about it, that really frustrates me. If I'd done something because I'd been a big thicky bobo, then that's fair enough. But just, dumb luck. Oh, look, another alien spawned. And I'm like, really? Again? Ugh. And I was there for like 6 turns, and that actually just got quite boring and frustrating.
Yeah.
It doesn't help that turns can be quite long as well.
Yeah.
Because you can take, I think, up to 6 actions, and especially at the beginning of the game, you're exploring the ship, so you don't know what's going to happen when you get into a room. It's not just a case of, right, I'll do this, 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 and this, and off we go. It's like, right, I'm going to go into that room, let's reveal it. Ooh, do I want to carry on? Do I want to stay where I'm here? Ooh, and
yeah.
Later on, the turns got a lot quicker because you're like, right, I need to get to the escape pod, so I'm going to burn as many actions as I can to get to the escape pod.
Or you got murdered.
Or like I did, like I've set the engines on fire. I need now to go to such and such room to try and get the fire extinguisher, then go back and put the fire out. And so later on, you've got a very clear idea. But yeah, it's weird. As you said, it's more exciting when you're exploring because it's new, it's interesting. But at the same time, later on, it's more bosh, 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 off we go.
I do think, though, like a lot of that was us learning what you can and can't do. So you think maybe if we played it again,
yes,
we would be more quickly off the start and we wouldn't get so bogged down, perhaps. I don't know.
I also think if they did improve the rule book to give a better idea of what you needed to do, I think that would improve things more as well, because I'm still not entirely sure whether you had to escape via the escape pods or whether you could get into the hibernation chambers or not.
Yeah, because there's a good chance you'd have survived if that was the case. Well, except that I blew the ship up.
Yes, true. If you blew the ship up, so we'd have to get out. Oh, God, can you imagine what would happen if you got into the hibernation pods and that's it, game over, and then somebody goes, right, I'm going to blow the ship up now.
That was my plan at one point.
And that's another thing I didn't like about the game is the player elimination.
Yes.
Yeah, true.
This was quite a weird thing, because I remember when we spoke to the guys at UK Games Expo when we were showing a prototype of this, he hinted that when someone dies, they then take over the aliens.
Yeah, okay.
Suggesting that the design of the game has changed or that the prototype version didn't include everything.
Please be that.
Equally
Please
likely.
be that. Please be that.
Yeah.
Thing is, what would you do if two people got eliminated? Because you can't really co-op the aliens. I don't think. Thing is, the alien generation, the way the game works, is random.
Yeah. So I'm wondering whether we were just given a slice of the game. You know, like you get like the demos of video games where they've just got, bits and pieces.
Here's the first level.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know.
They call it a vertical slice in video games, don't they? Where you do like 3 minutes of each level or something, so you can see all the abilities and that kind of thing. So maybe it's like a version of that. I don't know. I mean, as you said, me and you, Andy, have reduced our pledge to £1 because we didn't want to completely back out in case we changed their mind later on down the line, which is not very non-committal of us, I must admit.
It is. It's very unlike me, actually. It's the first time I've ever done this on a Kickstarter. But the thing is, there are a lot of things about the game I do like. I mean, the tension, the atmosphere, the theme, as John said, is really, really good. It's totally nailed. It feels like you're in deep shit all the time, and we were.
Oh, this is a proper survival horror game.
Exactly.
Isn't it?
I mean, that side of it is nailed on. But as you say, it's too long. I didn't really like the randomness of it because I like the first game you and I played together, Steve. You basically walked into a room and got mauled by the Queen, and there was nothing you could do about it.
Yes.
Which, okay, is par for the course for survival horror, but at the same time, you got eliminated for the game for about, 3 turns?
Yeah.
As me and Adam sort of potted about, well, we slowly died as well. But it's no fun when you just sat there watching people. So I'm hoping they improve this over time with improved mechanics. Obviously, the rulebook needs to be finished. So the game does have potential, but at the same time, I don't want to. 130 quid, whatever it was for the full all-in, is a hell of a lot of money for a punt.
Yeah, true. But 70 quid for the base box, which was pretty much the entire game and an expansion.
Yeah, that's fair. But you know me.
And I think you'd have to really love this game to play the 2 add-ons and that.
I think you're right, actually. What the point you made when we were there was that there's so much in the game, the base game that you'd get with the add-ons and stuff as part of the stretch goals. I think you're probably right. And it's not the sort of game I personally would play that often.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, the fact that if it does genuinely take 3 to 4 hours each time you play it, there are some likenesses between that game and Talisman. I hate to say it.
Well, it is. It falls into that giant Ameritrash game.
Yeah.
Your Talismans, your Arkham Horrors, and I'd also argue that on paper this is just as random as Arkham or Eldritch Horror.
Yeah.
Which is just as cruel. And so there's a part of me was like, I like this, but I already own a game which does a lot of what I want to do with this, I think, as well. That's weird. I've said I don't want another Arkham Horror. What's wrong with me?
But where is Steve and what has he done with him?
It's because you found perfection, Steve. It's all right. It can't hear you, Steve. You're not cheating on it when it can't hear you.
But it's okay. I already have 2 Awakened Realms games, so John can have another one. It's okay.
Well, this is the thing as well. I mean, the rulebook needed a bit of work, but production-wise, everything was really, really nice on this.
Yeah,
the miniatures are amazing.
The miniatures really good. I've got to admit, I'm really impressed with Awakened Realms so far. I mean, still like to play Lords of Hellas, but
Hell yeah, you do. It is awesome.
I've got to admit, I'll be keeping a close eye on anything they do in the future after this.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, it might not be perfect, as we said, but at least as soon as I find out they're going to have another Kickstarter, I'm going to have a look into it and have a damn good look and see what's available on it.
Of course, yeah, no, they've got a good track record so far. As I say, I mean, I've only played 2 half games of Lords of Hellas. I've not managed to finish one yet, but I really like it.
Okay. So that was Nemesis, which the Kickstarter's finished, but I can imagine if you're still interested, there'll be late backer options. So this is completely the opposite end of the spectrum. We then all played a massive 5-player game of Viticulture with a Tuscany board.
We did.
This was for Amanda's and John's benefit, really, wasn't it? Because Amanda wanted to play it and has never played it. John's played it once and wanted to give it another go. So, sat down, played that. And, you won, you bastard.
Yes,
Steve.
I did.
Just
he says
at
with
the
a big
last
grin
minute.
on his face. Yeah.
I thought I was going to come third.
Yeah, so did I.
Well, everyone did. And then Amanda played a card which basically allowed everyone to get their big meeples back.
Yeah.
Ruined my day.
And I reckoned... I was planning my final move and reckoned I could do this optimum move and then realised I was 1 meeple short to do it. Or if I'd gone earlier in the player turn, I could have done it because I could have grabbed the spots I wanted. But I was lower on the player order and somebody else had gone to the 2 places I need to go. It's like, well, I can only override 1. I need to do 2 things, because your big meeple can go on a space that's already occupied. So I realised I need to go 2 places, and I kind of resigned myself. Amanda played this card that brought everyone's big meeple back, and it's just like, oh, excellent.
Yeah, and I
then
rather
John
stupidly,
out.
just after I'd had my turn, I went, oh shit! I could have, if I'd realised, I could have just fulfilled an order because there's a generic order on here, and I'd have been perfect. And then he looks down at his and goes, oh yeah. Now that you pointed that out, I can do that still. And I was like,
so did I.
Facepalm. Like, why didn't I just keep quiet?
Had you not got that mega meeple against you, I'd have won by a point. Damn it.
Yeah, and had I not pointed that out, I would have beaten you, Andy. So in fact, if Amanda hadn't played that card and I hadn't spotted that, I probably would have won.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Actually, no, I'd have still beaten you without playing that order. I only played that order with the extra meeple.
So I know you love this, Andy. What do you think, John, after a second play?
I still get to the point where I don't feel like I'm in control of the game. And I think that's fundamentally why I'm less keen on that type of game. And worker placements where there's what feels to me like thousands of different options.
Yeah, okay.
But I think...
Don't play some of Andy's games and don't play bloody Agra
Well, I think it's something I'm getting better at.
Ave Roma.
But also, I think I try and play it in my head. I think I play a lot of games like I'm a software engineer. So for me to play a game well, I have to hold all the possibilities in my head at once, like the whole problem. I have to get it all in there, stuff it all in. And then once I understand all of it, then I can start to solve the optimum thing to do. And the reason I don't like games like this is that you have to hold shitloads of potential options in your head at once to be able to work out what the best thing is. And that's why my turns always seem to take a lot longer than everyone's, I think, because I'm sat there trying to plan out how I can do the perfect thing. I'm not very good at making a shorter plan. Like, Steve's brilliant at this, at just making like, right, I know what I'm going to do for the whole turn. And I'm like,
yes.
How can you do that? Knowing like so little about what's going to go on. I've still got to work out what other people might do.
I have one contingency usually. I'll say like, right, I'm going to harvest these grapes. I'm going to buy this. I'm going to harvest these grapes. I'm going to make the wine, and that's it. Or I'll go like, I'm going to make wine and I'm going to sell, which leaves me 2 meeples. Right. I need to save the big meeple in case someone grabs that one because it's pivotal to everything. If I can't sell, well, I can sell next round. Or if I can't harvest, I'm stuffed. So I need to make sure I've saved the big one for the harvest. And after that, it's just I just plan the entire move. I do the same with Eclipse, which it weirds me out when people are sitting there playing Eclipse thinking, "Oh, what should I do on my round?" How do you not know what you're going to do? Yeah,
exactly. Chop, chop. Get on with it. You've only got 6 meeples. It's not that complicated. Get on with it.
I think part of it's familiarity. Like once you've played enough of those sorts of games, you get the gist of, I just need these are the things that I should think about.
I think the difference is, John, that, I mean, you've nailed it there with, like, you need to know everything in your head at one go. But you don't do that with a worker placement because you get everything in your head over multiple games. The first time you play it, you'll be shit at it. You will be. Everyone is,
Yeah,
because you don't know all the strategies and all of that. But over 2 or 3 games, you'll start to work out what works and what doesn't, and you'll start to eliminate some of the crap.
Yeah, that's fair. But that's why I think I find those games intimidating versus something like Nemesis or something where your options are so much more limited. You can hold all of the problem space in your head at once, and very quickly, well, that's clearly my best move.
Yes. No, you're very good at that.
I think as well, I often actually play by gut a bit.
Yes.
Well, I play by gut quite a lot. Which doesn't always work, but sometimes it does, like it did when we're playing this.
Yeah.
I have to admit, I do that as well, which is probably why I'm terrible at worker placement. I really love them, but I'm shit at them.
It is terrible. It's terrible when I play things like, when I play something that's really got deep strategy, like, we're playing Infinity. In my head, I play lip service to like, I'm going to really think this out. But then the other part of my brain's just like going, just go there and shoot. So it changes from game to game, but I think that's why I'm a little bit more terrible at miniatures games. That's for sure. It seems to work out a bit better on Euro games as long as my gut is pointing me in the right direction. So yeah, I think we all enjoyed that.
I did enjoy it. In fact, I enjoyed it both times, and I didn't expect to enjoy it at all. Both times,
because it's ace.
The second time, I did kind of like, well, I enjoyed it the first time. Just don't prejudge it again. Don't just sit there thinking, I don't want to like this because it's one of them worker placement games.
We don't like your kind in here.
Yeah. I find it quite interesting listening to the Secret Cabal, because they have, I think we talked about this before, but they have a similar spread of players. Some people just don't like worker placement games, but they're trying to teach themselves. I think it's Tony, I can't remember which one it is. One of them is trying to make himself like those kind of games and try and play them more so that he can. But it's like I feel the same. Like
forcing yourself to eat olives because it's cool.
No, it's like forcing yourselves to eat olives because you like the idea of eating olives, and then
Exactly.
at some point there'll be like a moment, and it'll be like, oh, I like olives. One day I'll wake up and I'll be like,
I've been trying that for 10 years. The bloody awful things.
I taught myself to like olives. I'm pretty sure I can teach myself to like worker placements.
Excellent.
Just need to eat enough. I mean, play enough of them. John, why are there chew marks on the corners of the cards? Just testing a theory.
You've subconsciously made a nice segue into the next game we should talk about.
Was it subconscious?
That was Tuscany. So that was Viticulture with the Tuscany expansion, because it is a different game. And not long after that, we played a game which you had to eat.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was good fun, this.
Now, this was a really clever game, I thought this. Now,
Called
I'll make sure I get
the
name.
Poison Chocolate Game. No?
Yes.
Now, is it the Poison Chocolate or the Poison Chocolatier? I always get this wrong.
Poison chocolate.
Poison Chocolate.
We were basically approached by some sort of random friend of Frank's, weren't we?
Well, in fact,
Yes.
Frank introduced us to her.
That's it, yes. Try this! Okay. Because, we do get approached by a lot of random people saying, would you like to try my game? And they are, there's varying degrees of success.
Yes.
But we gave it a go. We thought, chocolate, right. We can't, because at this point, your collective wives were not present at the table, and we thought, we can't eat chocolate without them. We'd get murdered.
Yeah. We wouldn't have lasted the weekend.
No. So I had to wait till after dinner, and we thought, right, we'll give it a go. And it's essentially Russian roulette with 27 chocolates.
But with clues.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's not really Russian roulette.
It's Cluedo, where you eat the victim. Hang on.
No, hang on.
Wait. Cluedo Cannibal Edition.
Everyone's given 2 clues. Basically, there's a set of chocolates here, and there are different shapes, different types of chocolate, and a different colour
squiggle.
Piece of ice squiggle on the top. And everyone is given 2 clues, and it might say, like, all the round chocolates are safe to eat, and all the milk chocolates are safe to eat.
Yep.
So you are given a little card. It is a proper box set of chocolates. So you've got, all your coffee and your mint cream and your strawberry whatever, and
your grapefruit and your chili and your ginger.
Yeah.
Good mixture.
And so what you have to do is you have to nominate a type of chocolate that another player is going to eat. So you might say, like, all right, Andy, you have to eat a round chocolate.
I don't wanna.
And then Andy has to, based on the clues he's got, work out which one is safe based, because if Andy's thing says green chocolates are safe, well, then he'll eat a green round chocolate. If the clues he has do not point to any of the round chocolates that are left, well, that's when the Russian roulette comes in, and he's just going to pick one at random and hope it is not poisoned. And when we say poisoned, one of them is flavoured differently, shall we say?
Distinctively.
What was the description? It was an unexpected and unpleasant flavour.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we all thought it was going to be like earwax or something.
But it said that it was distinctive. And so every time we try something, we'd be like, did it taste like it was supposed to? Kaz at one point was convinced that she'd just eaten licorice. She doesn't really like licorice. But every time she breathed, we could smell the strawberry that she was supposed to be. It's like, it's strawberry, Kaz. You're all right. There's nothing horrible about that. It's like, it definitely tasted like licorice.
Yeah, but we can smell strawberries on your breath, Kaz.
I thought it was really good fun. I like the fact that you've got these 2 clues, but you can't eliminate everything. So you're all the time, you're volunteering chocolates that you don't know are safe, and you're looking at them, looking at which ones don't intersect with yours. So you know that they're definitely not on your safe list, and then watching what the person to the right picks. Like, I'd spotted that Amanda always picks squares, so I'm like, aha. So squares it's not just milk chocolates with purple squiggles. It's also square chocolates are safe.
You were paying attention. Jesus, I was just going, I'll have that one, it'll be right.
You won't even look at your cards, were you, Andy? Ooh,
I kept having to
ginger,
check
I like that.
them. I'd had about 4 pints of Guinness at this point.
Yeah. But I think the highlight of that entire game was the look on Steve's face when he did eventually pick
when I absolutely nailed him to the wall.
Yeah.
The problem is, I knew at that point, as soon as you told me which type of chocolate I had. No, it was it. Did Kaz have 2 to choose from, and I had 1 to choose from?
That's
basically.
right.
Yeah.
So Kaz had a 50-50, and as soon as Kaz had taken one, my brain was like, "Oh crap! I know exactly which one is the poisoned chocolate." Now.
There were 3. Yeah, there were 3 left when I forced you to take one, and I knew 2 of them were safe, so you were in trouble. I have a fabulous photo of your face. It is great.
Oh God!
I'm going to frame it and put it on the website.
So I think it's fair to say that we all thoroughly enjoyed that. You could see half the room knew that we enjoyed it because we spent most of the game laughing out loud.
Yeah, we do get some funny looks from across the room going, what on earth's going on over there? We all came to the conclusion that it's a very good after-dinner game. So if you had a dinner party with, 4, 5, 6 people, getting that out, because obviously it doubles up as pudding, which is, great, but also everyone has fun. And it took, about half an hour? It wasn't a particularly long game.
If that.
And there was
Even that, 20 minutes.
Lots of fun. And it was great, as John's alluded to. It was great that everyone's working on partial information, so you're never quite sure.
I think it was quite good. I mean, the amount of people that came over to us and said, "Are you playing a game, or are you just eating a box of chocolates?"
Bit of both.
It's like, well, this is the world's first edible legacy game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the one issue I have with it, not in the sense of the game, is the replayability. So if you get another
Because
one,
you've eaten them all.
yes, but
It would have to be, it would have to be random what the poison chocolate was each time.
but they'd have to
wouldn't it?
change all the cards to suit as well.
Yes.
So I don't know how many sets they're going to be out there. I mean, obviously it's only a prototype at the moment, so
This is only a prototype, yeah. I mean, whether it's one of those things that if it's the same one every time, or if it's like 1 in 4 or something like that,
yeah.
you couldn't play it too often.
Yeah.
Well, I guess you wouldn't want to. That'd be too much chocolate. Jesus.
There's no such thing as too much chocolate.
I was going to say, my wife would disagree with that. Yeah, there was a few things that could, like, for a prototype, it was incredible. The chocolates, generally speaking, were pretty good. But there's a couple of flavours where you were just like, was that pomegranate? I couldn't really taste anything.
Yeah, I had a quick chat with the I can't remember her name now, the woman who was promoting it. It's Honey Badger Games was the name of the company. And she was saying what they were thinking of doing was actually ramping up the intensity of the flavour because they wanted it to, she said they wanted it to be nice chocolates, which
and
they were really nice
yeah.
chocolates.
They were, yeah.
But at the same time, because she didn't want it to be to feel cheap and nasty when you were playing them, but she was saying she was thinking of making some of the flavours more intense. So it was obviously pomegranate, it was obviously lemon or whatever each time.
Yeah.
And as we said, a couple of them, we were just a bit, the grapefruit and the pomegranate, the ones where everyone kind of went,
Passion fruit.
Passion fruit.
Yeah, that's right. It's difficult when you don't know how horrible the different one is, because it said it was a distinctive taste.
Yes.
And we were thinking like, well, maybe the distinctive taste is that it doesn't taste of anything. Yeah.
No, it was very distinctive.
It was very distinctive. Don't want to ruin the surprise,
vile.
but it was. You will absolutely 100% know when you found that chocolate. I quite like the fact that with the clues, like we were hypothesizing when we were starting, we thought that you might just accidentally get the chocolate early on. It's like, oh, that'd be a bit of a waste. But because you've all got the clues, you've always got a reasonable idea about which ones not to go for. So I thought that was quite nice.
Yeah, I'd say you're probably good for about 3 or 4 rounds before things start getting dicey.
Yeah. So the only other thing I'd say is that the bit they explained in the rules about how you sort of choose a chocolate or who you choose a chocolate for, that bit was a bit ambiguous. Basically,
Only because we got in inverted commas help from other people.
No,
when we actually
even
read
reading
the
it
rules
before,
outright, it made sense.
No, I'm with Andy on this one. It was one of those things that someone tried to teach us the game before we taken out the box and didn't do a very good job. And then someone else tried to teach us the game and confused matters even further.
Okay.
So I basically put my foot down, was probably slightly rude to them, just like, whoa, let me just read the rules and we'll get back to you. And they kind of hovered for a bit and I read all the rules and it made perfect bloody sense. Right, we're done. Thank you.
I was about to say the rules needed groganizing.
No, the rules were fine, but they just got
grogged.
confused by people trying to help.
So, like when you're searching for something, using a Linux system in particular, you grok it. Like as in you understand, you grok for it and you understand it. I think as in groganizing, someone coined that term to make a rule book better. I think we could shorten that to grogged.
You have now
thinking about
entered
this
a
earlier.
level of nerd. Even I have not attained this age. Although I do use Opera.
Oh my God, you geek.
What was it you said? That it's a browser reserved for, what was it, terminal nerds?
So this is when we were trying to test out Roll20, and Roll20 would work on Opera, but the video and voice chat wouldn't.
Oh.
So I think I said something along those lines. It's reserved for terminal nerds, people who look down on people who use Linux.
It's the best browser.
Apart from Chrome.
Apart from the fact it doesn't work with everything.
Well, it's not my fault. People can't write websites.
I'm sure that's what Microsoft say as well.
Jesus, no. Edge is awful. IE's just got so many loopholes. It's more of a, I don't know. It's more of a sieve than a. I don't know what the opposite of a sieve is. Bag. That didn't really work. Take that out. That's not making it in.
I'm just going to let that crap analogy just hang there.
God damn it. Cut it out.
Bong.
Yeah, so that was the poison chocolate. I think we were quite a fan of that.
We were.
Yep.
Good Christmas present this year if it's out. I don't know when it's out. We've no idea.
If it's out in time, it will definitely be purchased for Christmas.
It will.
Except my dad's allergic to chocolate, so they really would be the poison chocolate game. Every single one of them.
So another quick game. I think we actually played this before we played the poison chocolate, because I think we played it when you were getting some food, John. So me, Andy, and Amanda played Arkon.
Yes.
Which is on Kickstarter right now, actually. Which is one of the reasons why we played it, so we can get something done for the podcast.
What's Arkon? How do you do it? How do you win?
I wouldn't know. I didn't win.
You did better than me.
That is true. You got dicked.
It is a set collection and take that game where you have to bid to win cards. Basically, you've got to either get one each of the 4 races. So you've got your typical fantasy races: elves, dwarfs, humans, and orcs. So you've got to either collect one each of the 4 cards or 4 of one race.
Yes.
And if you have them in front of you, game over, you've won.
Okay.
However, there is only actually 4 of each card in the deck.
Right.
So you're basically fighting over these cards. Now, the rest of the game. Now, the way you get these cards is you do like a little bid. So you say, right, you can choose one of these cards from your deck to put into a bid each round. And then from then on, every single card has got a number in the top right. And that's just the value of the card. And you place them face down and say, right, I'm bidding this many. So no one else knows what you bid, but they know how many cards you've bid.
Okay.
And so other players can place cards to try and outbid you or bluff you. Now, the clever thing there is if you win the bid, you discard all the cards you put into it. But if you lose the bid, you take the cards back into your hand.
Right, okay.
And the cards themselves are either these race cards or special action cards. So you can play either one of them.
Yeah, so during the game as well, you can just play cards. You know, like a card that says, like, discard this card and draw 2 cards from the deck, or steal a card off your opponent, or steal a clan off your opponent. And then you can play a card that is exactly the same in order to counter it. Or there are certain counter cards as well. You know, if a player does this, you can play this to stop them.
Okay.
Or if a player plays this kind of cards, you can steal that card before it goes into the discard pile.
Some anti-dick moves.
Yes.
Yes. Cock block, you might call them.
Very good.
All over that.
And that's it, basically.
Sounds simple enough.
It was. Once I got my head around how the bidding worked, it was actually quite straightforward. But I mean, Amanda, I suppose the good thing is that because Amanda went for the collect one of each race, and I went for the collect one of all races. One of all of one race rather.
Mm-hmm.
And it was more obvious what I was doing. You know, once I got
Amanda
to the
left
third
herself with more options. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's easier to collect all of four different ones than it is to collect all 4 of one. But as the counterpoint was raised that, well, you know, all you need to do is just, you know what the opponent's doing, so just keep one of one different one. So, meh.
Yeah, you could deny other people in a few ways. So you could, for instance, if we know Andy did an elf. So if you could try and keep an elf in your hand for as long as possible, you know you could stop him from winning, and eventually he's got to change tack and, start collecting other ones. Or what you can do is, what I did, is in a face-down bid, play one of these elf cards as a bid, which means I turned it over and won the bid. Andy saw I'd played an elf, and it went straight to the discard pile.
Bastard. I still maintain it's easier to get a set of 4 different ones because there are 4, obviously, because there's 4 of each type.
Yes.
Once you get to 3 cards, everyone knows what the last card's going to be. But if you're collecting 4 of one race, there's literally 1 card left in the deck. Whereas if you get to 3 of 4 different ones, there are 4 cards left in the deck. So you've got more chance.
So there's no advantage to doing all of one kind rather than...
No, I don't think so. I think it's harder. It's easier to spot and easier to counter.
So yeah, it was about 20 minutes, 25 minutes it took us to play a 3-player game.
Yeah, it didn't take long.
Yeah.
It was all right. It did its job.
Well, I think that's where I wrote my review. It kind of did what it needed to be done.
The Ron seal of card games.
Yeah.
Does it come in a tin?
No, unfortunately not.
Yeah, disappointing.
If it did, that would be even better. So that's on Kickstarter now. It's called Arkon. I think it's got about another week or so to go. Takes your fancy.
So I think the last thing we played that evening, was number 9.
Yes, we did play number 9 that evening. I don't know if... Did you play number 9, Andy? Did you come and watch us halfway through?
I watched you, because I tried to work out what the bloody hell you were doing, and then so I watched you for a couple of minutes, and then you explained it.
So I instantly... I'd seen this game before, and I thought I liked the look of it, having seen some playthrough, basically, videos. And playing it, I instantly... Yes, I love it. It's a great little game. In fact, I've bought it now, although I've only got the rules in German. But it doesn't matter because they're so simple I could remember them all.
You did it
This is the
again.
second game you've bought in German now. What the hell is wrong with you?
I couldn't find a UK one, and I thought the rules are simple, I know them. I'm pretty sure I can find them in a PDF online. Doesn't matter because it's all numbers anyway. They look like little Tetris pieces. So the aim of the game basically is to score as many points as you can. And to do that, there's some cards in the middle, and as you turn them over, everyone gets a Tetris piece looking thing that has a number on it. So you basically build up layers of these numbers. For anything that's in contact with the table, layer 0, you get no points for. Anything that you stack on top of that, you get 1 times whatever the number is. Layer 2, you get 2 times, and so on and so forth. So basically, the idea is to aim to try and get the highest numbers at the top of the stack. Slight complication is that if you put 2 numbers down on the bottommost layer and you try and put a number on top of it, you can't have that number that you're putting on top overhanging any of the numbers underneath. So there can't be like a void under any of the little squares that are on it. And additionally, it has to span at least 2 numbers that it's going on to. So you can't just put like an identical number on top of an identical number, like stack the 9s on top of each other 3 piles high and then go, that's 1 times 9 plus 2 times 9 plus 3 times 9. Thanks very much, everyone. And it sounds simple, but it's quite frustrating.
Well, rules-wise, it is very simple, but you're right. It's bloody frustrating is what it is. I had to keep doing the push check to make sure I hadn't left a gap. So you push it, and if it flaps, then you've got to avoid underneath.
Yep. Played with my parents, and my dad played this for about 5 minutes before we went, there's something wrong with this game. It's not right. They've not done it right. And I was like, what do you mean? I was like, he just looked at it and he's like, no, they don't tessellate properly. Someone's designed this game badly. And I was like,
I think you'll find that's their intention.
yes, they all tessellate frustratingly closely, but not quite in almost all cases. So you constantly like, do I build up more of a base down here, like on the 0th level, so that then when the bigger numbers come out, I can then build a bit more above it? I think that's basically the strategy, is to use low numbers on the lower levels and save the bigger numbers for the top levels. But you're always going to misjudge it and think, yeah, I made a nice big base there, and you'll put like a number 6 or something. It goes up to 9, predictably. But you put like a 6 on the 2nd level or something, and then you'll find that whatever you try and put upstairs from that just overhangs by like 1 square, and you're like, no! And then you're looking at what else you put down because you were waiting for that number 9 to go up there. And suddenly you have to put like a 9 on the 0th level, and you've got no points for it. It's like, ah!
Do you know the most entertaining part of that was? Because I was watching you guys play it, was actually watching Steve fumble around trying to get all of that to fit and massively failing.
Yeah.
Did you notice as well, though, that me and Amanda had exactly the same structure?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's funny.
I couldn't see Amanda's structure because the box was in the way, but wherever I looked round, it's like we've picked exactly the same coordination here. This is weird. Which also meant we ended up with exactly the same score, which kind of defeats the point, but...
I did find it quite funny looking at, like, you kind of concentrating on what you're doing, and then you look up and see what other people have done, unless you're cheating and just watching someone else. But at one point I looked up and my dad had just chosen, like, the worst place, and he looked up from his at the same time I looked up from mine. And it was like, I'd put a number 9 on, like, level 3, and he put it on level 0. And he looked up at mine and then looked back at his and went, oh, shit, I hate this game. Yeah. So I love that game. I think it's really good.
I think I have to buy a copy of this soon.
I do wonder, like, long term, whether there's just that one strategy and whether, like, there's a limited number of things to play, and then it'll be like,
I did wonder when I played that myself just how replayable is it in the long term. Yeah, because it's quite a quick game as well. That was about 20 minutes a game, isn't it?
Yeah. So I probably played, I would say, about 10 games of it now.
Blimey.
10? Jesus Christ.
Played a lot with my parents the other day. We probably played 3 or 4.
I played about 2, I think.
Okay.
You might have played a couple more with me after I went somewhere. So
maybe not quite as many as 10, but yeah, but quite a few.
Well, there's you go. The 10x10 challenge was mentioned a couple of weeks back.
Yeah,
That's true. Yeah,
already,
won't be
you've
long.
already got your 10x10 on that. Or maybe
done.
they can do an expansion where they just mix up the numbers a bit.
They could make an expansion called 10 to 18.
Maybe do hexadecimal.
Ooh, yeah. Okay.
Oh, no, that will be cool. A to F, yeah.
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 It just called letter F.
Or letter Z.
Oh dear. Oh blimey.
That's going to be a big game.
I bet you that comes out. UK Games Extra, I bet you an expansion number 9 comes out as letters.
Yeah.
So that was number 9. I have a funny feeling, well, my Amanda really liked that, so I think we'll be buying that pretty soon as well.
Yeah.
I'm going to stubbornly avoid buying it and refuse to make it a 3 for 3.
One thing I'm not sure about. So I tried to get hold of the English rules. So I contacted Abacus Spiel, or Abacus Spiel, if you pronounce it, who I think, are they a board game manufacturer? Or are they...
possibly a publisher, I think.
I wasn't sure because I contacted them and they said, look on Zman's website. So whether they just published it on there or...
I think it's Zman Games, so I think Abacus Spiel are just the German publisher.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, fun game.
Good.
I found the English rules on Board Game Geek, so they're there. If anyone else is looking for them.
Board Game Geek's really good for that, actually. Another game which I think you purchased as well. Now, I didn't play this. I meant to start playing this, but I actually went and played something else after Amanda had set it up, which was Lanterns. Did you manage to play a game of that?
I haven't. Kaz has. I bought it.
See, I had a similar thing, except I haven't done stage 3 yet. I haven't played it. Amanda did play it. I was told to buy it.
Yeah, no, to be fair, when I was looking for a copy of Azul, and Chaos Cards are out of stock with it, it said, like, if you like that, you might like these other games. And I saw Lanterns and then spent 20 minutes watching playthrough videos before I'd already thought, I really like the look of this. I think I'd enjoy this game. I'm sure I'll be able to play it at City of Games. And then lo and behold, I got so close, I got my wife to play it, and she said, yeah, it's good. And I went, right, fine, buying it.
We didn't mention Azul, did we? We haven't mentioned that yet on the podcast.
Have we not? God
No,
damn
we
it.
haven't.
Are you sure?
Yeah, no, we haven't, because I don't think we haven't actually played a proper game of it since because we've done all the recap episodes, so we've not mentioned us playing it.
Yeah, okay.
Good point, actually. We haven't. I've played it loads.
So did we play 2 games of this at City Games?
Yeah.
Just one, I think.
Yes.
It might have been 2. Was it 2?
No, we did play 2.
I think we did 2. Yeah. So, number 1, I found out I've been playing this wrong.
Not just a little bit
Yeah.
wrong, entirely
That's right.
wrong.
Yes, I had to point out that you basically can't read.
Yes.
I think there were maybe 4. I think I counted 4 mistakes in the rules that Steve had made, which really did transform the game. Actually, for me,
Yeah.
I still lost, but
I'm surprised, actually, because I thought that would have been the sort of game that you'd do quite well at, John.
I haven't quite got my head around the whole of the puzzle space. But once I have, you're in trouble.
Going playing this game with Amanda was really annoying because she wasn't playing; she was watching us play this.
Oh,
That
yeah.
was one of the
And
best
just
bits of playing
tutting from the corner.
Every time one of us made a move, it was just. That's not your best move, is it?
What?
We're like going, what? I can't see the move.
Why would you do that, Steve? Was the most quoted phrase I think I heard in that.
Mhm.
It was funny.
I still won.
You did.
You did.
It's your credit.
Yes.
So,
Like
yeah,
a
if we haven't
point.
mentioned it before, theme-wise, Azul is a load of nonsense. You're the world's worst bathroom decorator.
Yes.
What you're supposed to be doing is you're supposed to be making tiles to make this mosaic, and you drop half of them every single game.
Yeah.
In fact, it's a game that's really quite hard to describe, so I'm not going to bother. All I'm trying to say is what you're trying to do is grab tiles in the centre, but tiles you grab one of one type, and then leave some more for other people to take.
So there's like half a dozen little pots, if you like, of tiles,
Yeah.
in fact. And from each of those little pots, or the centre pot, you can pick, as you say, one type. And then all the other ones that you don't pick go into the middle. But if you pick the ones in the middle, the first person to do that gets a negative, a -1 victory point, essentially.
And goes first next round.
And goes first next round, yes.
And you've got limited slots to actually put onto your player board what you pick up.
Yeah.
And anything you goes above and beyond those limited slots goes in a little rack at the bottom, which tells you how many points you'll remove from your score tracker.
Yes,
at
you
the end of the
bastards.
Ultimately, there's 5 different types of tiles. You're supposed to move them onto a wall. None of the vertical rows or columns have the same type of tile on them, so it's a kind of a shifting diagonal pattern.
Yeah.
And the first person to complete a row
Horizontally.
will finish the game that round. And the way you score is that when you move a tile over, you score all of the points against which the tile that you put down is connected to horizontally and vertically.
So it's like Quirkle like that, in that it's how many you join up with.
Yeah, basically, yes. And you get bonus points at the end of the game for each horizontal and vertical row you get, and also for a set of 5, which is quite hard to get. But and the good thing is you can be subtly dickish about it as well.
Or not so subtly dickish about it.
Or not so subtly, yes. Oh, you need blacks? Oh, well, never mind, I'll just take those. Oh, you wanted those? Never mind.
Oh, look, there's 10 blue tiles left. Off you go, John. So, yeah, we really like that. It's quite abstracty, but it gives the opportunity for dickish moves, and it's quite simple and quick, really.
It is, and it's impossible to get hold of. So
Do you know what I didn't like about that game? You two seemed to gang up on me each time we played it.
it's almost like you've got a reputation, John.
Yeah.
You seem to think that was on purpose. I think you're misguided there.
It just comes naturally to us.
Yeah.
Steve and I just have the same strategy. That's all it is.
Yeah, okay.
So that's for us. That was Azul. As Andy says, it's quite difficult to get hold of at the moment, but
You're very fortunate that Lewis Enterprises managed to bag you a copy.
I think there's going to be a reprint soon.
Yeah, I've been waiting
I'm
for
sure
it to
they
come
will.
back in stock for a very long time.
Mm.
One game actually that Steve was itching for us to play for some reason was
Well, because Amanda really likes the game, so
oh, there we go.
and I thought you would like it.
So I thought, well, you said worker placement with apps. I thought, oh, hello, I'll give that a go. And this was Alchemists.
Certainly ticks some of Andy's boxes.
Yeah, quite a few of them actually. Pretty artwork, lots of unnecessary bling, app, worker placement. Yeah, okay, we'll have some of that. And this was Alchemists. Yeah, we set it up. The idea is that you are a mage or wizard of some renown, and the idea is you work for some kind of mystical, magical university, and you're trying to understand which ingredients in some weird-ass forest can be used to build various types of potion. Potions of strength or feebleness, potions of, is it dexterity or quickness? Something like that.
Speed and paralysis.
There you go, yes.
And
And
then
is it intelligence and
Insanity.
insanity.
there you go. And there are, is it 6 ingredients? No, more than that.
No, 6.
It is 6. Is it
Yes,
6?
I think. Or was it 8?
No, it's more than that. It might be 8. There's a lot anyway.
Sure, it's not 9.
And
It's definitely an odd number.
yeah, I think you're right, John. Yeah, it's definitely an odd number. I think it's 9. 9 sounds about right. And the idea is that different combinations of these things will produce different types of potions. And you are trying to work out which combinations are which. And in order to, if you understand the potion, and each basic ingredient has a set of 3 properties, either positive or negative, and different combinations of them will produce different types of potion. The idea is to work them out. You can publish a paper if you think you know which ingredient or which type of potion you can make. You can sell these potions to adventurers. And in order to test your potion, you can either initiate the use the initiate, who may end up getting poisoned and then refuse to work for you without money, or you can try it on yourself. That's him. And in doing so, it's essentially almost a trial error logic problem sort of idea. So you can work out and eliminate certain combinations quite readily.
Mm.
And in order to do this, you use an app which takes into account all of these combinations, makes things very easy for you. You take a picture of the 2 cards, and it will tell you what the result is. You share the result with everybody else, and everyone sort of goes along their merry way going, so you can make a green one. Okay, great. And there is a race for victory points, which is based on the amount of information you publish and or refute or endorse, blah, 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 blah. People get victory points, and the person with the most victory points is the winner. And on paper, that sounds ace. Unfortunately, paper is a very flimsy thing that falls apart when it gets wet.
And drops down behind the
Oh God,
your
yeah.
own-
The screens are probably one of the worst designed things I've ever encountered in a board game.
They are.
Really?
They're frustrating.
Yes, they are terrible.
So at the back
Okay.
of your screen, in front of you, you've got like all your 8 ingredients at the bottom, and then a sort of pyramid diamond thing where you can plug in when you made a potion between 2 different ingredients, whether it made a positive or a negative potion. So that's your kind of log of what you've tested. But then above that, there's a little add-on screen where you're supposed to put your 2 little cards down when you're testing a potion. So like, put your feather there, and you put your scorpion thing there, and as you put the scorpion thing down, you accidentally knock both of them down. They fall behind your screen where everyone else can see them, show everyone which ingredients you've tested or about to test. I think that's one of the really frustrating things.
I know a
Yes.
lot of people don't actually use that bit and just put them on the table and take a photograph.
I think that's
That's
the way to
sensible.
go. Just throw
It
those
is,
extra
yes.
bits away, Steve.
They're just unnecessary. But as nice as the idea is, I have 2 serious problems with that game.
Go on.
One,
Amanda
the
always wins.
downtime on it.
Oh, right, sorry.
Well, that's not so much of an issue. Downtime on the game is horrendous. At least it
Yes,
was for
right.
us.
To explain a little bit more, the game is essentially a worker placement game and a deduction game.
That's my problem with it.
The worker placement is basically allowing your actions to do things and choosing the order in which you can test on the student, test on yourself. And then the deduction game is another side of it. So some of the actions are to take these deductive actions. And subsequently, there's a lot of thinking time. So whereas we were talking about viticulture earlier and you're thinking about your actions to take on the board, on this, you've also got that another layer that you're thinking about, well, hang on, what does that ingredient and that ingredient do? And there's two ways you can do it, really. You can either go, I'm not going to publish a paper until I'm 100% certain, or you can just kind of fudge around and kind of go, well, I think that's going to be the case, which means you might have to change your mind later, which means there's a lot of sitting down, looking at your little piece of paper, which has got your notes on and what you've scribbled out, going, oh, am I sure about that? Am I really sure about that? Yeah, let's go for it.
Meanwhile, someone else is going, come on, John, it's still your go. Like, I know it's still my go.
And I really didn't like that. I genuinely got bored.
It's weird. That's the first time I think I've played it with 4 players. Nope, tell a lie. The first time I played it at Tuesday night in Worcester was with 4 players.
We've played it with 4.
We played it with 4, have we?
Yeah. You, me, Amanda, and Kaz.
Right, okay.
And I didn't like it that time either.
And I agree, and it was weird I didn't realise it had this stigma approach to it. Because as I said, Amanda really likes it, so we played it a few times. And loads of people walk past us and go, you're a bit brave trying alchemists, aren't you?
Mm.
And I was quite surprised. I didn't realise it had got this reputation.
I like the idea of it. In principle, it sounds great. And I like worker placement. I like the idea of deduction and all this sort of stuff. But my God, it took us something like 4 hours and we played 4 turns. I was like, no, that's just too long. I mean, that like Nemesis looked like a breeze.
I think you hit the nail on the head earlier, Andy, that it's or maybe Steve, I forget which one of you said it, but the fact that it's a deduction game and there's like a worker placement game. I think that's the thing I struggle most with in that, is that I get stuck on the deduction thing and then I'm like, shit, I've got to put some bloody workers down as well. And then it's like, whereas other worker games, at least there's quite often lots of different options. I feel like with that one, you have to get the deduction stuff right enough that you know either whether you're uncertain, you're just going to have to put something down, doesn't matter what it is. And as soon as you put a deduction down, like no one else knows whether you voted for it in terms of something you think's worth 5 victory points, 3 victory points, or you have no idea and you don't want to be penalised, so you're just going to put a question mark there. So you're putting these things down. Unless you've got one of the special cards, you managed to buy early on one of the special cards that lets you look at other people's results as they're doing their tests, you will have deducted a tiny fraction of what they've deducted. So Steve and Amanda had an incredibly powerful card where every time someone tested, she got to see...
No, it was once per round it was.
Really?
Yeah. And when I was watching, she only did that once per round.
Okay.
So that would allow her to look at one of the ingredients randomly that you'd used.
Yeah, it meant that every round she got to look at one more half of a deduction. So she knew that for a particular combination, well, for at least one card, that it wasn't going to be a positive potion or a negative potion, whichever one it was. So every round she got a bit more information. And similarly, Andy had something that meant he didn't throw away as many ingredients.
So I was saving an action, basically.
Yeah. And so basically, unless you get one of those cards early on, you're considerably hampered for the rest of the game. But it seemed to take, I don't know whether we were playing it wrong, but it seems to take a really long time for that to come round for the shop to be refreshed so that you could get something else from it.
Yes, three rounds, I think it was.
3 rounds it was, yeah.
No, I was just going to say, you guys got that literally in the first turn. And
I got lucky as well, because I got dealt a card that gave me a discount in the shop. So I basically spunked all my money on that, which obviously, it was literally dumb luck. And I just bundled for it, because there's only 3 cards in the shop to start with, and 4 players. There's obviously competition for those bits. So I thought, we'll grab them now before they disappear.
Yeah. So both times, in both games that I've played, I reached a point where I was like, I don't have enough information to make any reasonable judgments. I can't make meaningful decisions. So I'll just randomly guess at shit. And then predictably, it's not like you can even deduct from what other people have sort of put, what's the word, recommendations? when they've put their endorsements and other things like that, when they've said this is I believe that these ingredients produce this stuff, you can't even go by what they've put down, because for all you know, they've just had a punt and put a question mark down there. So all you've got to go on is what you've deducted, and depending on what ingredients you're lucky or unlucky to pick up, it just felt like you're constantly not got enough information to even form reasonable decisions. That's what I found frustrating about it.
I find, I mean, building on, I agree with you, John, and building on that, it essentially, to me anyway, obviously I've only played one game, so I'm sure the game will change if I play it more, but it just seemed to me like there's only one strategy, and it's driven by the structure of the game. By the end of the third round, I think it is, you've got to come up with a paper or you lose points. So for the first 2 rounds, you've got to basically work out what the hell's going on. Third round, you publish something. Fourth round, you have to publish something or you get a deduction. And then the 5th round, you're basically going, well, you're talking shite, and I'm going to endorse you. Job done.
That's assuming you've got enough money to do those endorsements or debunking.
Yes, indeed. But that just seemed to be the structure of the game. And again, obviously, I've only played it once, so I'm sure other people will turn and go, well, actually, that's how you play the game at all, Andy. But that's how I saw the structure of the game going. It just seemed to be a little limited.
Yeah.
And the number of the spaces available for the worker placement was obviously similarly limited and really weird. I didn't get why they overcomplicated the positioning of the cubes on the spaces. So it was all done. You place your cubes in reverse order.
You place them in reverse order, yeah. In reverse player order. But you always put the cubes on in player order, yeah.
Yeah, to me, that just seemed
quite
a bit
like
dumb.
that. I like that. I think that's a different take on it.
I just thought it was overcomplicated and dumb.
I like the idea of it, but every single turn I had to ask someone to remind me which way round you do it. And this was while I was still...
I screwed it up too. And Jesus, I play worker placement. That's why I say it was overcomplicated.
This is while I'm still trying to work out what things I need to deduce, and trying to work out where I'm going to place things, and trying to remember whether I need to publish something this turn. It's too much for my tiny brain. I can't hold it all in one place.
I have to admit, I didn't find the game overly complicated. But I mean, I'm used to worker placement, so it's I didn't at all. I find it quite straightforward in terms of its mechanics. But again, I'm used to worker placement, so that side of things I kind of got okay, fine, but blah 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 blah, they're done. The logical working out side of things obviously slightly different than the deduction side, but it was just the downside. The downtime to me really put me off because my mind started just wandering, and I'd stopped focusing on the game, which meant every time I tried to focus, my brain just went, "No, I can't be arsed."
I think if you could do the deduction. I mean, there's some people that will argue that you need to see what the other players are doing during the deduction stage because you could, in theory, make some information. You know what ingredients they've picked up from the face-up stack.
Mm.
So you could say, well, I know they've picked up loads of them and they've got that, but you've got to be really clever to do that.
Unless they've only got 2 cards left, you can never be certain what they'd combined, though.
Yeah,
exactly.
But no, what I was about to say is, you could, in theory, do all the deductions at the same time. The whole worker placement thing of placing the things in order didn't matter on every single spot. And apart from having to, pay the poisoned student, you could, in theory, just do all the deductions at one go and save yourself a lot of effort, and save yourself some time there.
Yeah, maybe.
I think that was part of the problem. What happens is someone makes a deduction, so they're going to line up the cards, got to get a phone out, get it to work. And then first few rounds, everyone's going like, well, what the hell does that mean? What does that piece of information tell me? So you've got to try and work out what you cross off on your little score sheet. I think if you could find a way of doing that all at the same time, you'd knock a good 15 minutes around out, I think.
Yeah, so Andy and I were talking about this on the way back, and I was suggesting it does seem bonkers that you've got the app to scan the ingredients and then make some deductions, which you do on a paper thing that you work out from what things you combined. It does seem madness that you have to do that on the paper thing. Why doesn't the app just have that there?
Because you can make mistakes by doing it on paper. And I think that is the point.
Yes.
Yeah.
That does make more sense, because, I mean, you do get to the point where, like, oh, God, what have I done there? Does that mean that and that mean that? Oh, God. And you know what I found really useful, actually, was I made a neutral potion. And that was probably the singularly most useful thing I'd made in the entire game. Because once you've made a neutral, if you know one ingredient that's in it, you instantly know the other one.
Yes.
Because you know it's opposite.
And I think if you did it in the app, I think it would make the deduction side far too easy.
Agree.
Because the app would just do everything for you then. You just like, oh, tick, 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 tick that off. It's like Star Wars Rebellion.
Yes.
The whole point of that is, if you read the rules properly, you're supposed to put cards back into the box. So you have to remember, did I start on that or not? And people have made apps like the web pages which you can click off of the Empire, the rebels aren't here. And I think that completely defies the point, because the way Star Wars Rebellion works is you've got to try and you've got to sift through these cards and go, where are they? Where are they?
Yeah.
I haven't got the 4 cards which I started with. So what were those 4 cards? And I think that's an extra layer. I think. And maybe if you did like the easy variety, would do the app to the deduction for you. Because we also played that game on easy mode rather than hard mode.
So what happens in hard mode?
It's more penalising for the points for not publishing a paper. So you have to publish a paper basically quicker.
Quicker? How?
And sorry. No. It's more penalising. You lose more points for not doing a paper in time. Sorry, you don't. It's not quicker.
Right.
But the major difference, you get less resources at the beginning of the game. So you've got to basically spend actions to get resources. And the way in which the potion deduction adds another layer of complexity. I can't remember exactly how it works now, but if I remember correctly, it's like you have to get the signs definitely the right way, or there's more neutral potions or more dud potions turn up in the advanced mode. There's the back of the screen says something. There's like one combination of potions works every time on easy mode and then doesn't work on hardcore mode. I can't remember what it is exactly.
Right. Does anyone play that?
Well, consider there's also an expansion available which adds a second board of actions.
Oh, Jesus.
Which, like, you've got to work out which ingredients can wake the golem and things like that.
Do you know what?
Euphemism.
Do you know what? That shit. I'm out.
See, I really like this game, but I can't disagree with your criticisms. It does take a long time to play. Now, I was quite surprised how slow we were going on the Sunday we played. But then again, I think I've usually played it with Amanda and we know the game reasonably well now.
Yeah, you guys are
pros.
Amanda
did make the point, to be fair, that it's obviously a lot faster once you know the game. And if you're playing it with 2, it kind of rattles along, and it's a good sort of Sunday afternoon game for 2 people. And I can see that. It makes more sense once you got used to the game. But even then, I don't know, it just seemed a bit faffy for me.
I know why that Sunday game took so long. It's because you had me who was trying to hold all of the problem in my head, and Kaz who was sat there not really having played anywhere near as many board games as the rest of us, let alone something as complicated as that game. And she was just sat there just like,
struggle.
What the fuck? What the absolute...
She did seem to struggle a little.
Cause one of the things I was trying to work out before we went actually away was what kind of games does Kaz like? Because I know what games you like, I know what games Andy likes, I know what games Amanda likes, and I'd never really got my finger on what games Kaz likes. And I'm slowly working out which games Kaz doesn't like.
So games that I know she enjoys are definitely the one that's just gone from my head, Arkham Horror. She likes that.
See, I'm really surprised at that because she's a terrible cheat at that game.
I think she likes co-op story type games.
Right, okay.
So that one ticks a box because we're all working together, and even though it's really complicated, she's generally got at least a John, or better still, a Steve telling her what to do, or what she can do, rather.
Yes. Because she rolls a dice and doesn't like the result, or she picks a card and it basically, it's Arkham Horror, so it gives you a horrible result, and she goes, "Can I not swap it for another card?"
Yeah, but that's
just feel as if...
To be fair, I don't think that's entirely just her. It's normally because she's playing with Amanda. They're both at it.
Right, yes, they're both at it, yeah. Which is why I think games like Pandemic are slightly better for them too, because there's less randomness, there's less evilness.
And funnily enough, she quite likes Pandemic.
Fair enough.
Yep. We've played I don't know how many games of Talisman, so she's similarly afflicted. She likes Spice Road.
Okay.
Game of Trains, obviously.
Well, everyone likes Game of Trains.
Yeah.
Played that about 4 times as well.
We did, yeah.
Yes.
That could be in like the 10 for 10, or maybe 20 for
easily.
20, 30 for 30.
Oh, God, I'm not playing 30 games 30 times. Jesus.
30 games? Jesus Christ.
10 for 30 then, sorry. 10 games 30 times. It's just Game of
Imagine
Trains,
if
that's
TI3
it.
was on that list. Off.
Well, you wouldn't succeed, basically.
No, that'd be pretty much every weekend you ever had.
Yep.
So that was Alchemists, which you two aren't fans of.
No.
No, I'm afraid not. A worker placement
well.
game I wasn't that keen on.
I've come to the conclusion, having played it twice, that I never need to play that game again. It's
Fair enough.
It's been
I
written
wouldn't
off.
mind playing it again, but
I wouldn't mind watching it. I wouldn't. In fact, I'd be quite interested to watch Amanda play it. But I don't ever feel the need to play that game again. I've just. There are some things in my life I don't need to go through. That's one of them.
prostate
enough.
surgery is probably another.
Well, I'd rather have that and live. I was going to say.
All right, okay, boys. Steady
I
on.
wouldn't say Alchemist is a life-threatening disease, though. I could just not play it. That's fine.
I should point out that I'm not likening playing Alchemists to enduring botched prostate surgery. No, Alchemist was definitely better than that.
I think we should just move swiftly on.
Move on. Yes.
We can to the one game that we'd basically been trying to play for about a year.
The one game.
Well, no, I've been trying to play TI3 for 3 years now.
Ah, yes. See, we didn't play that. God damn it.
No. It would have been a whole day
Yes, it would be a whole day.
Quite literally.
to set
yes.
it up.
It would have been amazing. I think you'll both enjoy it.
Probably.
But no, but similarly in space.
Space.
Yes. So similarly, space-based game, we were finally got round to sitting down to play Defection.
Ah, yes.
Which means I didn't get thrown into the River Severn.
Hooray! Although that could have been quite funny. And this is a hex-based space game. Lots of randomness. But the idea behind the game is that you are part of a resistance of some kind, trying to evacuate civilians from a war-torn planet. And you move them from this central planet to various other planets around the board. You start with 4, but I'm reliably informed you can unlock more. Across hexes of space, which contain various types of oddity, ranging from things that could be positive to things that are most certainly not.
Yeah. In fact, things that are mostly not.
Not. Yeah, I think that's probably fair, yes.
So the way I describe this game is a cross between Elite and an area control game.
It really was like First Encounters, I swear. Like Elite First Encounters, but with more randomness.
Yeah, with a bit of Galaxy Trucker thrown in there.
See, you guys haven't played it, but another game which is similar is Xayah, Legends of a Drift System.
Okay.
And I think that's more elite-y than this.
Okay.
And it's more random.
Okay.
I know this game was very random, but Xayah is actually even more random at all. Because this is, for instance, in Defection, you could move the spaces of your speed of your ship, or you could activate your hyperdrive, which means you roll the dice to see how far you went. To give an example, Xayah, you have to roll a dice every time. It's roll and move, and just the bigger engines mean bigger dice.
Okay.
I like that.
Which is quite cool. So yeah, this is a bit more focused, because Xayah is a game which you can just do anything you want in.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
You can do absolutely anything. Whereas this game, you can mostly do anything you want, but ideally you want to be sending your population to all these different planets and then controlling the planets with the amount of population you've sent there.
Whilst simultaneously delivering cargo so that there's something worth controlling.
Yes.
Yes, which gets you cash.
Which was really quite interesting, because there wasn't much cargo.
No.
I thought that was going to get replenished at one point. Now we're describing it, and he goes, "Oh no, you don't get any more cargo. That's it."
What, really? Oh.
Oh.
So how do I get more dosh? You have to blow shit up. Oh, okay.
Well, the other one was because the amount of cargo on a planet affected how many victory points you got from it as well. It was like
Yes.
a ladder, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So we started realising that right now you need to go to planets and buy the cargo off that planet to go send to another planet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you could go back.
Yeah.
Like, so I had a mission at one point where I got some stuff for going and delivering the cargo to a planet. But then I also I had a mission which said if I deliver cargo back from a planet to where I came from, I gained victory points. So I like delivered it there, then bought it back for more than I got for it, and then delivered it back and gained a load of victory points.
Intergalactic stock market trader.
Yeah.
Exactly, it was elite. That's all it was. That's what it was.
Mm.
The hexes were pretty random.
They were.
Pretty.
Yeah, okay, entirely. Which was good in a way because it meant that wherever you went, you never knew what you were going to run into. So if somebody went somewhere, it didn't matter because as soon as they left that hex, the hex got replaced. So that was good in the sense that you were entering the unknown because space is very big. But it also meant it was too bloody random. It suffered the Nemesis problem again for me.
See, I thought it was on the edge of being too random for me.
Mm. It felt like to me. So at the beginning of the game, you had some money to buy some stuff, and one of the most fundamental things that seemed to be in the game is that if you didn't have a pilot, an awful lot of the time you were at a disadvantage. And when we started off, there were 4 players and 2 pilots. So me and the other guy whose name I don't remember bought pilots.
Yeah, I went for the guy that basically was really effective against somebody boarding your ship. And at no point during the entire game did anyone want to board my ship. And I'm thinking, well, what the fuck's the point of this?
I didn't think anyone got boarded at all in the entire game.
No,
did
No,
they?
they
I
didn't.
did.
And I'm like, well, what's the point of this?
Ah, John did.
I got
there you
boarded,
go.
but my pilot was also shit hot at hand-to-hand combat, so he just ruined them.
John hired a space ninja.
Pretty much, yeah. I'm pretty sure his name was Han.
But yeah, I mean, that was kind of I was like, well, what's the point of this guy? And if I don't run into this stuff, well, what's the point? So very much, again, at the mercy of the gods, which is an element, a random mechanic of a game that I really just don't like. I'm not saying I didn't enjoy it, but just, again, I felt like I was just pootling around, not really in control of what I was doing.
It felt to me like at the beginning there should have been more choice. So more people should have had an opportunity to each buy a pilot. And maybe they would have been better or worse. Or, there should have been a wider variety of stuff that you could at least... So that one, especially at the beginning, everyone would get like a ship pilot.
That's not a bad idea, actually, John. If everyone got, say, there were 4 crew slots, or a potential for 4 crew slots once you'd upgraded your ship, and you could level your characters up, so you could decide to specialise in whatever area you wanted to. Like, you could have a shit-hot pilot or a shit-hot engineer.
That was it. If you didn't have a pilot, you didn't have a pilot in skill. You couldn't even roll the dice, was it?
Yeah.
Which meant that if you encountered, I don't know, an asteroid belt or something, like I think Andy in the first turn couldn't pick up a pilot, and then the first square...
I set off a star.
The first square he went into, he hit a supernova, which he wasn't allowed to pilot, so he lost, took some damage. It's like, okay.
Yeah. And I'm like, well, that's me for 2 turns now, so what am I supposed to do about it? And it was literally that. There's nothing I could do about it. And that's the bit. It was just dumb luck. And then you shot past me, colonised the bloody planet I was going for.
To be
and I'm
fair,
like, well,
there's like one of the things they have got is everyone's got these little crystals that you can expend to go into hyperspace. So you've got 2 charges of it, which means you roll a dice and you can go up to, in my case, 4 squares, which is 1 planet away. Perfect. But if you roll like 2, your hyperdrive cuts out halfway to the planet. It's like...
which happened to me every time.
Okay, I've got to take one random step into the unknown. Ah, shit, it's pirates. So, I don't know. I quite like a bit of random, as you know.
Yes, of course. But it's just different tastes. It's just, again, it's not for me because there wasn't anything I could do about it.
I agree.
I couldn't avoid it, or I couldn't play a card to avoid it, or do something proactive to be...
There should have been something, I think, that you should have been able to have done to not necessarily completely avoid it, but at least mitigate the effects. Something that you're weighing up. Do I use this now to save myself from this peril, or do I hold on to it for potentially something much nastier further on?
Yeah, basically. Like, even if it was just a one-shot shield or something like that. Yeah, that would have been nicer. But no, take your medicine and pass to the left.
Again, I think as long as you had like a few of those one-use things at the start of the game, so that you don't initially get dicked over, you've at least got an opportunity to decide, should I hold on to this for a little bit, or should I use this up right now? Like,
Yeah.
in Talisman. You get these fate tokens.
So what was that? I didn't quite hear that. No.
In some other games, you get things like fate tokens, which at least you start off with a couple of them, and they allow you to re-roll a dice. So you're constantly thinking, should I use this up now because I need this good stuff that I could get, or I'm avoiding this horrible stuff that I don't want to have to deal with, or should I save it for later when I might really need it, when it's like life or death?
Yes. No, I agree. So that kind of annoyed. Well, it didn't annoy me, but I just felt a bit. Nah. I'm kind of like, oh, roll the dice. Oh, I'm dead. Dead. Oh, roll the dice. Oh, I'm dead, or whatever it was. And yeah, I wasn't particularly invested in it at that point.
I enjoyed it, but I think that's because I had enough upgrades to begin with that it felt like every time I encountered something, I was deciding what I was going to do, rather than just, shit, I've hit a star.
Yes. Yeah, pretty much. So what did you think, Steve?
Well, I'm kind of in the middle of the two of you really here, because it has got that talisman-y aspect. If you move into a space, you reveal it, and anything could happen, which has its moments, but ultimately, if you're not prepared for that, or if it's something you can't deal with, it's just a kick in the nuts. But at the same time, I like the idea that you were trying to control what was in these various planets, that you could kidnap. No, we couldn't kidnap colonizations, could we? That was the other thing you could do. But you can move cargo around, you can move people around to try and manipulate the board. So it wasn't just a case of, like Talisman or whatever, where you're just going off and random stuff's happening to you for the sake of it. You were actually trying to get somewhere and do something with it.
Yes. No, that aspect, the area control, I think was quite nice.
Now, the problem is I've not played the Firefly board game, even though one person in this group owns it.
I haven't played it, and I bought it.
Now, people are going to compare it to Firefly, because my understanding of Firefly is very much a similar aspect of you're trying to get from A to B and do things. And people are going to compare it to Zaya. And Zaya's Zaya's more random. Zaya's more random because it's got more dice rolls, but there's not as many random events.
Right.
The only real random event is when you decide to just jump blindly into a new space, which it's quite fun. But you could end up you could end up in the middle of a supernova, or you could end up on a really beneficial planet that gives you loads of cash. But that's not every single round you're doing that.
Yeah, okay.
So weirdly, Zaya, although more random with the dice rolls, you have more control over what you're doing each round, because if you've got more information, it's not completely random.
See, that sounds better.
And I think you were right, John. The Galaxy Trucker analogy is actually quite a strong one, because Galaxy Trucker is, you build, you get your truck, and off you go out into the black, and anything could happen to you.
And most things do.
Yeah, and this felt very similar. I thought, okay, I've got my colonists on my ship, I've got some cargo, I've bought one shield, I'm off I go. Oh, I've met something which I needed piloting skill, bugger.
Yeah, that's pretty much how I felt. It's like, I think I've got these things, I want to do this. Off I go, and something that will happen that I have no control over, and I'm screwed, basically. It will just basically nail me. And I didn't like that.
As I said, I'm kind of in the middle. I liked a lot of aspects of it, and I think, again, if it doesn't take too long to play, because we only played a shortened game because we learnt the rules and want to get enough of the game to get the gist of it, as long as it plays quick enough, I will be more than happy to play this again. But if it ends up like Nemesis, if it ends up being like a 4-hour game, I'm going to play it once or twice, and then that's it.
So, I mean, we only played for an hour or two?
An hour? About an hour.
An hour, yeah.
An hour, okay.
And there was a lot of learning the rules in that as well.
Yeah, so towards the end of that hour, it felt like the rounds were going pretty quick.
Yes, they were, yeah.
It did, yeah, it did. There was no very little downtime, which was very good.
So there's one of the little frustration that kept on coming up for everyone, is that if you weren't on a planet at the beginning of your turn...
Oh, you couldn't do half the actions,
You couldn't do half the actions, which did speed things up. And it meant that everyone, about 2/3 of the way through, everyone started going, right, note to self, have to end on a planet, or next turn I'm stuffed. I'm just going through space, surviving, basically. I say there was this moment where it's just for one turn, I noticed every single person started their turn in space, and every single one of us went, right, I move the moon round, I gain my resources, I go and buy some stuff. You can't do that because you're not on a planet. Oh, yeah, okay.
God damn it,
next turn.
Yes.
Right, I move the moon, I get some resources, I buy... Nope, can't do it because you're not on a planet. It's the fact that everyone forgot that every single round just, made me chuckle at one point.
It did speed the game up, but at the same time, I don't know, it just... For those of us who were basically drifting in space because we had no other choice,
but
it made it a little frustrating because I couldn't do anything. It's like literally move a token, gain some resources, it's now your go, because there was literally fuck all else I could do.
But you could have, you still had a reasonable number of those hyperspace charges, so you could have jumped.
I did, but I didn't want to.
Yeah, well, then you're going to live through space, aren't you? Some of us have blown our load in the first turn.
Yes.
Well, that's the thing,
So again, you got to weigh up some of those bits and pieces and hope that you're lucky. James did hint that I'm useless at remembering what my point was, and it's gone.
James did say you could trade hyperspace crystals.
Yes, yeah.
Oh yes.
So
that's right.
so he was saying that you could negotiate. So if someone wants to come into your space, they have to negotiate, or you fight, basically. So if someone's trying to get past you, and as I was at one point fairly tooled up, although you can't necessarily stop people going past you because they can always go around you, and some lucky bastard just happens to get a load of bonus stuff in the process. God damn it. Yeah. But if someone's foolish enough to negotiate with you, you can say, well, I'll exchange one charge of the hyperspace for allowing you to pass safely, and I won't fight you. I promise.
Yes. I promise I will never die.
Exactly. I promise you won't die this round from me. So none of us actually engaged in that side of it. None of us negotiated.
No. I was going to, until you started waving 3 booty cards around, and I thought...
You weren't going to negotiate. You were going to invade. You were going to attack me.
I was going to try and shoot you until you started waving those cards around, and then I thought better of it.
Yeah, it was a good job he did.
Yeah, I'd have lost.
Yep.
So that was Defection. I think that should be coming to Kickstarter late this year. If you're going to be at a UK convention of any kind, I think it's going to be on show there. It's definitely going to be at Arkon, and it should be at UK Games Expo as well.
I think, if they improve it a little bit, I think there's a very high chance I'm going to back that.
Ooh. Kickstarter Cage, they call him.
No, they don't.
Before we round up today's entertainment, well, if you call it entertainment,
today's show,
we are going to be at Arkon in a couple of weeks' time. Ooh. And we are going to be doing a special episode of, it's not quite an episode of the Polyhedron Collider cast, we're going to be hosting a special event.
It's the Polyhedron Collider show.
Emphasis on the special, I think.
We're doing it's been advertised as On the Couch of Polyhedron Collider, so hopefully we'll see you all there. But what we want is a little help from you, dear listener. Uh-oh. We're going to have a whole bunch of random guests.
Yep.
Which are other podcasters and vloggers and bloggers and all sorts. What we want off you is questions to pose to these people. But we don't want you to pick a person, we want that person to answer this question. We just want any old question. So what we want you to do is send your questions via Twitter, via Facebook, via the Guild, via email, and we're going to put them all into a hat, and people are going to be asked questions at random. So we're after a good combination, some nice juicy questions we can ask, like is Kickstarter killing the board game industry, or is the FLGS worth saving? And daft things like, what exactly does John put in his hair?
Should Groganizer really be a word?
So if you send any questions you fancy to us, and hopefully your questions will get drawn out on the show, and we're going to try and record it if we can as well. So it should be on the podcast in quite a few weeks.
Rock and roll.
Yeah. Should be fun. Well, it'll be an experience. That much we can guarantee.
So thank you very much for listening. We've been Polyhedron Collider. If you enjoyed this, please give us a review on iTunes and share us with your friends. In the meantime, you can chat to us at polyhedroncollider.com. We've got a guild, which is BGG Guild 2726, and we're on Facebook. And you can also chat to us on Twitter. The group account is PolyhedronC. I am the easily spelt Wahoffle
Yes. I am at Sonic H with a 0.
And I'm John_Cage.
And we'll see you guys in a few weeks. Tatty bye.
Catch you later.